Jingle, jangle, it's Christmas in the hood. We smoking mistletoe and drinking hungry, feeling good. Jingle, jangle, it's Christmas in the hood. We smoking mistletoe and drinking hungry, feeling good.
Good looking Deacon, Daz Dillinger, produced by Nigarachi. And this is Christmas with Snoop Dogg. Hope you enjoying the CD. I know, you ain't never heard Christmas like this, huh? Come on.
He's Dave and I'm Dallas, and we have opinions on just about everything. Sometimes they're on point, and sometimes they go down better with a glass of wine. Join us. This is the Wine and Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the Season 1 finale of Wine and... Woo! Celebrate! We get to take a break. Celebrate! This is, of course, the podcast where we pair wine with entertainment, delude ourselves into thinking you want to hear what we have to say about different pieces of pop culture and art, but know for a fact that you need to hear what we have to say about wine, because, man, who knows anything about wine? We sure as hell don't. Well, that's not true. We actually totally do and can help you find the perfect pairing for whatever it is you're planning to read, watch, or listen to. Now, before we get started, as always, please make sure to hit that follow button and subscribe, especially while we're on break. Listen to all these episodes. Listen to the ones. Catch up. The ones you skipped. Go back, listen to them, and follow us. Also, leave a 5-star review. Leave that full 5-star review if you love us. If not, that's fine. Don't send us a nasty email to wine, the letter N, P-O-D, @gmail.com. That is where we will take your feedback into consideration and get better. But don't do, just on YouTube the other day, someone left a comment on one of our videos that was like, this was a total waste of time. Please stop making content. And I was like, woo. And I was like, but you know what? As a comment, I was I know. And a YouTube comment. I mean, YouTube is such a toxic cesspool.
Oh, we may have to invite that guy on. I want to hear what he has to say.
I did leave a comment, and I was like, wow, this was a waste of time. Please stop leaving comments instead of content. But it was such a waste of time of a comment.
Most likely someone with just a personal grudge against me. Highly likely.
Possible. I don't know. I mean, it was so content free as a comment where it was just like, this was a waste of time. I'm like, why was it a waste of time? Like, what didn't you like about it? Nothing. And I'm like, so, guys, if you care enough to leave a comment or send a nasty email, tell us why.
Please.
Give details.
Please.
If you can't be bothered for that, you do not care
That's
enough
right.
to leave a comment, and please move on with your lives. But if you love us,
That's right.
That's what should motivate you. You love us, leave a 5-star review. Do so while we're on break, especially. Keep this show going while we're not pumping out new content every single week. And then we will be back in the new year at some point. We're actually not sure when we're going to be back in the new year because we're going to do some planning, and we have very ambitious plans.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you. So, so expect some really cool stuff in 2025 alongside the usual standard entertainment and wine pairings that we always do, and we'll continue to do into 2025. Now, if you want us to be your father figures and you'd like to put your little tiny hands in ours, you can also find us on Substack, wineand.substack.com, where you will be the first to know when new episodes drop, get in-depth show notes, sometimes uncut versions of these episodes, bonus pairings, articles, chats, pairing directories, wineand.substack.com. Be a cool kid, drink the wine cooler aid, and join us on Substack. Especially while we're on break for this podcast, right. We will still be doing articles and occasional posts on the Substack, so find us there. Come say hi, come find out who we are, and other things that we do besides just this podcast, and come get to know us. And by the time we drop in 2025 with season 2, you will be well prepared for it. Know us better and know what to expect better. Know our sense of humor. Oh, actually, you're probably learning our sense of humor just listening to this. True. Anyway, today, for the season finale, I'm going to let Dallas introduce us to the topic at hand. So without further ado, take it away, Dilly Dally.
All right, people. Ever wonder what Christmas, ganja, and wine have in common? If you entered anything other than Snoop Doggy Dogg, then you'd be very, very wrong. But that's okay. A little wine, a little ganja, or even a little Christmas might make you care less about being so wrong. Snoop Dogg presents Christmas in the Dogghouse is the album we are spinning today, and in a twist that only Wine and could bring you, we've paired his curation of 3 wines with the 19 Crimes label with this curiously Christmassy compilation. Released on December 16th, 2008, this digital-only compilation album is not your typical holiday soundtrack. Curated by the one and only Snoop Dogg under his Doggy Style Records label, it features 20 tracks that showcase a variety of West Coast hip-hop artists from the Dogg Pound to Nate Dogg. This album is a funky exploration of Christmas themes through a distinctly hip-hop lens. Forget the traditional carols. This is a holiday celebration with a twist, and probably lots of Christmas ganja. But first, the wine. And with some information on the curation of 3 wines from the 19 Crimes label, let's swing it back over to my partner in crime, Snoop, Davey Dave.
Snoop Davey Dave. All right, guys. So we have 3 of the Snoop Dogg 19 Crimes wines that we are going to try today. I did not realize this, but there are actually 6.
There's 6, yeah.
Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
There are, I know. I figured that would be a bit of a surprise. It was a surprise to me. I was like, oh shit, what?
Yeah.
Now,
and they're very popular.
Yeah,
Great
but
sellers.
we have 3 of them. They are very popular, very great sellers. But let me introduce you to the overall scheme of what these wines are, where they came from, and then we're going to talk about. I'll mention the 3 we don't have here today, and then the 3 that we do. The 3 that we do tend to be the standard bearers of the group. And the other 3, one of them is a limited edition. I get the feeling it was for the holidays that it came out, and it probably will only be around for the holidays. One of them is the other 2. One of them is brand new. And I've never seen this in the wild yet. So I feel like it must be very new. And we didn't find it in any of the wine shops, or I didn't eyeball it. To be fair, I'm not usually looking for the Snoop Dogg wines. So it could be my eyes just glaze over it every single time. Though it's one of the more colorful labels of the 6. So I feel like I would take note of it. And then one of them, I'm more of a red than a white drinker, so there is a Snoop white that I feel like, yeah, my eyes probably just glazed over that one as well. And I don't spend enough time in the white aisle, especially the white aisle where a 19 Crimes Snoop Dogg bottle would be. But, okay, all that said, what are these wines? Why are there Snoop Dogg wines? So 19 Crimes is a brand that is owned by Treasury Wine Estates. And according to the VP of PR, John Wardley of Treasury Wine Estates, so all of this is going to be the official story of these wines from Mr. Wardley of Treasury Wine Estates. So take everything I say here with a sea salt of salt. But this is the official story behind all of this. And that is that, Snoop Dogg, actually, let's start with 19 Crimes. So 19 Crimes is a brand that is all about, it's an Australian brand that is all about the 19 crimes that got people sent to Australia in the first place, right? Because it was a country of convicts that Britain just sent people over there.
And
some of these crimes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. But there are 19 crimes and some of them are fucking absurd.
It's true.
So there's obviously, and I love the descriptions of these. So there's grand larceny and petty larceny, right? Petty larceny is theft under $1 shilling.
That's right.
Fuck yourselves. Humanity, what is wrong with us? Theft under $1 shilling gets you exiled to another like a convict colony.
A proper penal colony.
My God. And then grand larceny is just theft over 2 shillings is grand larceny. I'm like, I swear to God, like nothing in between. We suck. We suck as a species. I think it's fair to say this. And then there are things like impersonating an Egyptian. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even know the historical context for that. That is baffling to me. But apparently, that is one of the 19 great crimes of Britain at the time that got you sent to Australia. There is stealing fish from a pond or river. There is stealing roots, trees, or plants, or destroying them. There's bigamy, of course. There is assaulting, cutting, or burning clothes. There is clandestine marriage. There is stealing a shroud from a grave. There is watermen carrying too many passengers on the Thames if any drowned.
Oh, I mean, I
So
see that
you can
one.
do
I get
it.
that one. Okay, I get
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's sort of like it's like you can
Yeah.
speed, but if you kill someone while
Yeah,
speeding, now it's a
exactly.
problem, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Incorrigible rogues who broke out of prison and persons reprieved from capital punishment. Like you get a reprieve from capital punishment, but you're fucking off to Australia. We're telling you that much.
Right.
Yeah, there are so many. So 19 crimes all told. And the point of this is that, Snoop Dogg is someone who Wardley says he was a fan. Maybe not. But there is a lot of synergy because Snoop Dogg, he is a rapper. It is a story of 19 Crimes story is, of course, convicts who were sent to this penal colony to have a harsh life, and they overcame that adversity and founded their own country. And the Australia that exists today is nothing like the Australia that was originally. Well, there are the native
I don't know
people. Let's
about
not
that,
forget them,
buddy.
but I don't know about that. But it is about overcoming adversity and coming from somewhere that's a tough situation to becoming something and going somewhere amazing, like making a life out of adversity and making a life that's richer and greater than what anyone thought you'd be able to do with that adversity. And so there is that sort of the 19 Crimes for Australia and sort of the standard American. You're growing up in adversity, you're growing up in the hood, you're growing up where the crime is rampant, the authorities are not on your side, they're not helping you out. There's systemic issues that keep you from easily rising out of your station in life. So similar in that regard. And so 19 Crimes and Snoop at this point, by 19 Crimes, because this was the 2010s, they really started to get together and do this. Snoop had become an entrepreneur at this point. He was far more than just a musician. One thing we're going to talk about probably a little bit with his Christmas album is he already had a deal with Landy, which was, I had to look up what Landy was. I was like, what the fuck is Landy? But there are no less than 3 songs on this Christmas album that talk about Landy. It's even in the title of one of them.
Right.
And apparently Landy is a cognac, and Snoop had a deal with them where it wasn't the kind of deal with 19 Crimes where you slap your face on the label. But it was a marketing deal where it was like Landy would show up to Snoop's marketing events and Snoop would show up to Landy's marketing events, and they would market each other. And plainly, Snoop saw this Christmas album as like, this is where I give Landy what they need, and
Exactly.
we're gonna put them all throughout this album. Because I was like, there's a lot of Landy, and I've never even heard of Landy before. What is going on? But yes, he had a deal with Landy at the time. So Snoop is a very sharp businessman. Now, according to 19 Crimes, Snoop picked all the blends for his wines. He tasted them all and decided what he wanted. Now, maybe, absolutely, maybe. I'm sure there's a reality somewhere in between where 19 Crimes put together like at most a half dozen blends, and Snoop chose between that half dozen. I'm not sure they brought him into a room with like 50 different barrel samples and were like, Snoop, we're going to mix and match until we find the exact thing. Maybe, but I doubt it. My guess is they probably curated a little bit for him and then Snoop picked the final blend. But near and dear to my heart, Snoop, my man, it is predominantly the Snoop Cali Red is predominantly Petite Sirah.
It is.
Fuck yeah. My grape. My grape, baby. Petite Sirah, Zinfandel, and Merlot. Now, it is interesting. I saw that in previous vintages, like the 2020 vintage, it was usually over 14% alcohol. We have the 2022 vintage with us here today, which is 13.5. So they got that alcohol down, which is for a Cali Red. That's interesting. So for the Cali Red, it is 65% Petite Sirah, 30% Zinfandel, 5% Merlot, and the acidity is low. It is a 3.77, which is low for acidity. So it's going to be a quote-unquote sweet and jammy red, and Petite Sirah is known for low acidity. It's known for higher tannins, so we'll see how the tannins work. So we have that. We have the Cali Rose. which is its own blend that we'll get to here in just a moment. And then we have the Cali Gold, which is a sparkling white. So kind of his sparkling, I'm not going to call it a champagne, but his sparkling, probably going to be closer to Prosecco, where it's got that fresh fruitiness. Not really. I doubt they're doing traditional method and getting those bread and biscuit flavors in there and doing extended aging. None of these wines are expensive. These are all like in the $10 to $20 range each at most. I think on the 19 Crimes website, they're all like $15 a piece. At World Market, I think we got them for like $10.99 or something like that. They were on World Market sale. And so we have those 3 wines. Now, there are 3 others. There is a limited edition Cali Rose sparkling. So they made a sparkling version of the rosé. They say this is a limited release. So my guess is this is a sparkling for the holidays. But it looks to be the rosé that they added bubbles to, and not really anything else there. Now, there's also a white, Cali White, or Cali Blanc, which is a Sauvignon Blanc that is medium sweet. So that's actually a significantly sweet Sauvignon Blanc, which I was surprised to see. But it is a Cali Sauvignon, so it's not going to have that fresh bite of a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. Cali Sauvignon Blanc tends to be more tropical. Fruit notes, a little quote unquote sweeter on the palate. So adding that little bit of sugar, I can see how this was going to be more of a crowd pleaser by making it a little more sweet in that regard. We don't have the Cali Blanc. We don't have the sparkling rosé. We just have the still rosé and the non-rosé sparkling. And the last one that I'd never seen, and I was surprised that this even existed, is the 19 Crimes Snoop Dogg Cali Smooth, which is a red. From the breakdown on the website, it is the same red blend as the Cali Red, 65 Petite Syrah, 30 Zin, 5 Merlot. I don't know if someone copied and pasted on the website and that is the actual blend and it's not any different. But according to the website, the smooth is no different, but it is apparently this red blend, quote unquote, this is what they say on the site. This red blend is a gentle spin on the familiar Cali Red recipe, ripe with dark fruit notes and toasted oak. Caramel and vanilla undertones make for a silky smooth finish.
What?
I'm assuming maybe this is like an extra oak aged version of the same blend.
Yeah.
That might be what it is. So it's like they extra oak age it, which is going to smooth those tannins out further than your basic Cali Red, but also probably make it very oaky, which maybe makes it smoother, like more vanilla, more oak. And the Cali Red is aged in American oak, which is going to be American oak is usually more punchy than your French oak. Like it's got spicier, it's a lot more vanilla, a lot more flavor usually gets dumped into the wine from American oak. Riojas, surprisingly, traditionally are often aged in American oak. They're actually the most infamous ones for always using American oak, or traditionally they did. Nowadays, I think some people use French oak up in Rioja. But traditionally, always American oak, where most places were like, no, French oak, where even Americans were like, aggressively, no, we're not using American oak. Aggressively, we're not doing that. But American oak does add a little something extra that French oak does not. It is a different oak. It does have a different aromatic and flavor profile. So my guess is the smooth is extra oak aged, but I've never seen that in the wild. Now, the Cali Rosé that we're going to try here today is 75% Zinfandel, 20% Grenache, 5% Pinot Noir. And for those of you unfamiliar with how rosé is made, you crush the juice and just give it a little bit of skin contact. So you start to make it like a red, but it's like maybe a few hours on the skins, maybe even less, and then you get them off. So you turn it pink, and before it gets any darker and goes anywhere near red, you get rid of it. So you get very little out of the skins. You generally don't get a lot of tannin, which is the thing that really makes it dry, in the dry mouthfeel, and really gives it all that texture of a full-bodied red. And this way you keep it light like a white, give it a little bit of flavor, a little bit of aromatics from the skins, and then get rid of it before any of the rest of it comes out. So you're using all those grapes, and that is the blend of the Cali Rosé. And then the Cali Gold is a blend of 10% Muscat Alexandria, 26% White Riesling, 28% French Colombard, and 36% mixed white of other things that they don't specify
that makes
of
sense.
other white varietals. and 11% alcohol. So this might be a little sweet. We're going to find out as we go, depending on the method that they use. My guess is they probably just use like a tank method to make this. It's the cheap method to make a sparkling wine. You don't have to do the secondary fermentation in the bottle, or they used an Asti method and kept it sweet, which is a single fermentation. And that's also a quick way to produce wine, especially if you want to leave it a little bit sweet. All right. Those are the wines. Oh, and I will say, let's see, were there a few more details? There's not really. So a couple more fun facts, actually. Sorry, I did write these down. Of course, the 19 Crimes labels are infamous for their augmented reality. We will put a little video of screen recording of Snoop Dogg talking in his augmented reality. It's fun. It's just Snoop Dogg. They recorded his voice saying these lines, obviously. It's interesting. The one thing that kind of annoys me is like, I wish they would. The augmented reality looks like a CGI version of Snoop. Which is because they took a photograph and animated it, right? And so it's like, it is like a computer generated version of Snoop. Like, it doesn't move. Like, it's not that actual life like I wish they would have just recorded Snoop saying these things and whatnot, like in black and white. That probably would have gone over better, but whatever. It's still fun, this augmented reality. And apparently the rosé was Snoop's idea. After the Cali Red, Snoop was just like, look, rosé is party in the bottle. I really want to have a rosé too. And so it was, according to him, his idea to do that. And he also, Snoop Dogg is instrumental. He's the one who brought Martha Stewart on board to make her Chardonnay. With
that makes sense. That tracks.
Snoop and Martha are tight.
They are.
Yeah,
they are. They really are. They have a bit of an empire together since they did their potluck show. Yeah. So
so if you like any of these wines or hate them, blame Snoop. It's all him. He's the reason all of these damn things exist. But we're going to try the 3 wines we have today and let you know how well they go with the album. Dallas, do you want to open these bottles first, or do you want to talk about the album first?
Let's, why don't we break and get the bottles together? And
I have them here.
Yeah, me too. I just need to actually pull them over here and get the glasses.
Oh, okay.
But let's do a quick break, and then maybe let's taste the wines first.
I'm gonna start with the Cali Red.
Cool. Oh, you're gonna start with the red?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it. All right. So a lot lighter in color than I'd expected.
Ooh, yeah.
And on the nose, it's weirdly floral. It's like rose water.
It is, yeah. It is very aromatic. It is very, it's a celebration wine for sure. It's a good time wine.
I'm not sure how much I like the nose. It does smell just like it smells like rose water and kind of nothing else, like a hint of fruit. And for a wine that is 65% Petite Syrah, like this is, you can kind of see when I hold it really close to the camera, you can kind of see how see-through. The lighting here makes it look dark, but man, oh man, guys, it's not. It is see-through. It looks like a fucking Pinot, but purple instead of red.
Yeah,
like
it looks like a purple Pinot
because of that
very,
Petite
very
Syrah.
good. Very good description. It looks like a purple Pinot. Yeah. Yeah. Huh.
Oh. All right, that is candied.
It is very candied. Yeah. Like I said, this is a good time wine, all right? This is a brunch get together with the girls or the guys wine. It is.
It's true. And it's it's not, if there's a hint of residual sugar in this, which I don't know if there is. Probably there usually is in wines of this caliber, getting the sugar, but it's probably just a hint. But when I said candied, it's not literal sweetness per se, but it does taste like candied, like the actual flavors you're getting are like candied cherry and candied strawberry. Cherry and strawberry through the roof. You almost, maybe a hint of raspberry, but there's very little tart in this. And for a purplish wine, it's very red fruit.
You know what it is?
Like there is no black fruit in this.
It's black. I'll say blackberry. I say blackberry because blackberry technically lives closer to raspberry than it does to other black fruit, right? Blackberry cobbler.
Yeah, but I still get raspberry more than blackberry. I think.
I'm getting blackberry for sure. Um, yeah, pleasant. Yeah, interesting. hmm, hmm.
This one, unfortunately, I was hopeful because it's 65% Petite Syrah. I was like, okay, even if this is like very run of the mill, no frills, not exciting or anything like that or mind blowing, but I gotta say, this is not what I'd hoped for. This is not what I hoped
Did
for.
you
It's just,
did you let
yeah.
it sit for a while, or did you just open it?
I just opened it,
Yeah,
but
I
you know,
imagine with a little, like a few hours on the with air, this might open
maybe
up a little bit.
it's a little, and it's got that. Sometimes with big bulk brands like this, you can get this like metallic-y aftertaste
Okay.
and metallic-y on the nose and on the palate, and I definitely get that from this wine. It's not like unpleasant or anything like that, but yeah, I was hoping for something fruity, or I was hoping for something a little richer with that blend as it was described. I was something a little more concentrated, a little more richer, even if it wasn't like super high quality or artisanal or any of that bullshit. Like just something that would have been, yeah, rich. And this is very light and very.
Yeah,
I'm just not getting enough out of it. Yeah,
blackberry,
okay.
blueberry. It There's a little oak in there, just a little smoke,
And the
little oak.
tannin, I mean, like again, the extraction's very light, like very little tannic
Uh-huh.
structure. They kept this very gentle. The alcohol's medium. They even brought the alcohol down from previous
Is
vintages
there
on this one,
Zin
so
in
it's only
this?
13.5.
Zin's in this, right?
Yeah, 30% in,
Okay, all right, yeah.
and then a hint of Merlot. So two of Dallas's least favorite red grapes, right?
Facts.
But then a lot of Petite Syrah,
Yeah.
predominantly Petite Syrah, which I'm a little shocked by the Petite Syrah. I'm like, where? How? And only that purplish color a little bit kind of gives it away. Zin and Merlot can get a little purple
You know,
now and again.
this is a
And
little
this is low acidity, so it's on that purple spectrum.
this is a little this is a little overly sweet on the front for me.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It's not, again, I don't know how much literal sweetness is in this wine. I think only a hint. But, and I've been missing, like in class, I drank a, what was it? It was something that was like, I thought it was like, I marked it down as medium sweet. Something about it made it so ridiculously sweet to me. And no, it was like not even remotely was that correct. So I can get fooled by certain flavor elements. It can taste,
I will say
very sweet.
that the tannins are really well integrated. They're quite. I mean, they're yeah. I dig the tannins.
Oh, I mean, again, there's not a lot of extraction here. Like they kept. I'm almost a little tempted to be like, did you carbonic macerate this shit? Like, how did you do this? Like, there is so little pigment and tannin in there, and again, that like almost cotton candy-ish candy, right?
Yeah.
Flavor. There's something about it where I'm like, semi-carbonic maceration might have been involved in this. I'm uncertain, but it almost feels that way. It's a little Beaujolais-y.
I do think a lot of these wines, these accessible wines, are created with food pairings in mind. And I could see this holding up very well with barbecued meats and, really heavy celebratory wines. There's that touch of sweetness on the front end. Again, it is pleasant. It's pleasant. There's nothing offensive about this glass whatsoever. There isn't a whole lot of complexity. But pleasant.
I'm going to go with a little bit of offensiveness for my palate. Again, it's got this weird metalliciness to it that is a little off-putting. That's my one. It's not overbearing, it's not overpowering, but it's not great.
Agreed. For our palates, I agree with you. But I think for the general public who are just sort of reaching for the bottle, I think that adds a certain.
But we gotta be honest to ourselves. For this one, there is a little bit of unpleasantness to this one, and definitely disappointment on my part for that Petite Syrah. But I'm moving on to the rosé.
Actually,
And
before we do that,
it almost.
actually, let me pour
Yep.
some rosé, and then I'm going to pick up with some
Album.
info on the album. Man, this nose is.
And the rosé's.
That's something.
I actually like the nose on this one better than the red.
Man. Okay. All right.
Yeah, see this.
Yeah.
This is pleasant for me. This is the one where I'm like, okay, yeah, party in a bottle. Absolutely.
Oh,
it's got more acidity. My mouth is watering.
okay. That's something.
No, this I like. I can tell. See, I think I dislike the red far more than you, and now we're switching places.
You know what's funny? I do think these are gonna open up so relatively well. So I'm gonna keep this around and these bottles open once we finish this. I'm gonna sneak back in for a glass maybe in like 3 hours.
I'm gonna do it because they're whole bottles, and what else am I gonna do? But I'm gonna bet against that. I don't think these are gonna really open up much more at all.
I think so, but we'll see. All right, so and now for some info on our dear Sir Snoop Doggy Dogg. The man behind the magic. Snoop Dogg, born Calvin Cortazar Broadus Jr. on October 20th, 1971. I know.
Did not know that.
If you thought his name was just a clever play on words, think again. His mother nicknamed him Snoopy after the beloved Peanuts character because he resembled the cartoon dog. And who knew that would lead to a legendary rap career? Exactly.
Amazing.
Snoop first burst onto the scene in the early 90s with his debut album Doggy Style, which sold over 800,000 copies in its first week. That's in its first week, back when people had to get up off their asses, find a record store, go inside, find it, grab it, buy it, take it home, and listen to it over and over again until they had every single line memorized. None of this streaming nonsense.
But we also had nothing else to do except go to malls.
Exactly.
So,
but none of the streaming nonsense you young whippersnappers do today. Snoop's not just a rapper, he's a cultural icon who has dabbled in everything from acting to film and TV production and even wine production. Yep, you heard that right. It's the whole basis for this episode. Just a hint, look for us to cover more celebrity wine brands in the future. Snoop has collaborated with some of the biggest names in music, including Dr. Dre, Tupac, Pharrell. His laid-back style and smooth style have made him one of the most recognizable figures in hip-hop and culture in the last 30 years. That's right. He's been at this for 30 years. He is a grandfather, and I think even a great-grandfather. And curiously enough, he's almost eternally young. People don't understand that Snoop is a man well in his 50s at this point. Beyond music, he's known for his philanthropy.
Not only does Black not crack, but he's skinny enough.
Yes.
He is skinny enough that he never looks different. Like he's, sometimes you get older and you start to lose the weight because you have health problems and things like that. And then you look a little like baggier or wrinklier because of that weight loss or things of that nature. You lose your just slight youthful cherubness. Snoop never had youthful cherubness. It didn't exist on his body.
That's very true.
Skin and bones from the get-go. And so he looks the same.
He does.
As he always has.
He does.
Nothing changes. Yeah. Anyway.
But beyond music, he's known for his philanthropy, particularly through the Snoop Youth Football League, which provides opportunities to underprivileged youth. And real quick, we're going to check back in with the wine here, Dave. I got to tell you, I agree. This rosé, and I'm not a guy who enjoys rosé at all, generally. This is fun. This is fun. This is fun. This is fun.
And it is pleasantly, it smells sweeter than it tastes.
This is fun.
So smelling this, I'm like, I like the smell, but I'm also like, oh man, this smells almost medium sweet. Like this is going to be like a kick of sweet. And then honestly, it's mostly dry. It's nice. I'm digging this. And this was, once again, this is a 75% Zin, 20 Grenache, 5% Pinot, rosé with 12% alcohol. So yeah. This is just
fun.
pleasant.
This is fun.
Not mind blowing.
No.
No great
No.
complexity here, but the acidity is on point, so it lifts it up. Unlike the red was a little like the acidity wasn't there. Then there wasn't a lot of concentration of flavor. So the red just came across as weak sauce to
It
me.
is very
but
weak.
This
The red's
rosé is
very
on
weak.
point.
The red's very weak.
Yeah.
But this has a
rosé is
little
on point.
bite to it. The acidity solid, as you said, is some complexity. The nose alludes to sweetness, but
Mhm.
it's surprisingly more complex than the nose gives away.
Yeah, it is. It is fucking 2 p.m, and I just finished this glass while we've been sitting here. I mean, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's 1 o'clock somewhere, of course, but it is 2 p.m. And this was one episode. Normally, we don't drink when we record these episodes. I'm drinking coffee because I usually record this at noon sometimes. I was just running late today. But today I was like, we're drinking Snoop Dogg wine. It's fine. Let's get it done. And I think it helps that I've been doing the WSET classes where I start drinking at 9:30. I'm like, okay, the seal is broken. Anything goes. There are no rules.
Yeah, this is surprisingly tasty, and this
nice.
is again is coming from as Dave knows, and maybe many of you. I don't dislike rosé, but you gotta force it down my gullet sometimes. But this is just,
and
it's very
this one's
pleasant.
it's got a little bit of bitter flavors to it to mix with those fruit flavors. This is mostly fruity. Like it's got a sweetness on the palate. There might, I believe there probably is a touch of residual sugar in this one as well, but it's not overpowering. It works with the acidity in this rosé, unlike with the red. So yeah, this is balanced, and this is working for me.
I like this.
Yeah. So Snoop Cali Rosé, that one, go for it. Now, Dallas, just to open it before we keep going, 19 Crimes, Cali Gold.
All right, fine.
The sparkling. Now, Dallas, can you tell me, what do you think the WSET instructions are for opening a bottle of sparkling?
Oh,
how do you do it?
WSET instruction. Oh, I'm gonna say you find a.
What's step one?
Step one is probably remove the foil. No, you keep the foil. Yeah, remove the foil.
almost remove the foil.
Okay.
Step one is you should always serve it well chilled.
Oh, absolutely.
So it needs to be like refrigerator temperature, because especially the colder it is,
that's right,
the less active the bubbles are.
That's
so
right.
the less risk there is of any of the cork popping or exploding or what have you.
Sexy bottle though. Pretty sexy little magnum here, a little bottle here.
Totally sexy bottle.
Yeah, right.
No, this is a proper sparkling bottle. Yeah.
And of course, Snoop is giving his best sultry come hither face on the bottle. Fuck yeah, Uncle Snoop. Actually,
to be fair, that is the same that is the same face on all the bottles.
I know, but this bottle's black, so it's by contrast, it's much sexier. All right, hold on, Zach.
Okay. Wow, the one critique I will give of this bottle is they don't give you an easy in on this foil. I'm having, at least for me, on this bottle that I got, I'm having to cut the foil with a knife because there's no little tab to help you do it. Okay, remove the foil. What's step number 2?
Place a towel over the cork.
Nah, nothing that extreme.
That's not what the sommelier says, but let's see. I have no idea. What?
This is service.
Oh, this is service.
Remove the wire cage.
Oh, the wire cage, yeah.
Remove the wire cage, and once it's removed, never take your thumb off the cork.
That's right.
Never. Yeah.
And
so
actually, a sommelier, a former friend of mine, said you could keep the cage on because that allows you. You could unlock it, but if you keep the cage on, it adds to the idea.
Not supposed to.
You could. Hey, I'm not. Hey.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Officially, that is not the. Those are not. I would fail. I would not get a point.
All right, there we go.
So there is that. Now, you grab hold of the cork, and the last step, because you want to do this making as little noise as possible.
Do it
right?
in frame. Do it in
You
camera, Dave. Do it in camera. There you go.
All right. So you hold onto the cork and another on the bottle.
There you go.
Right, and then you turn the bottle, not the cork.
Turn the bottle.
Yeah. And that is how. My damaged hand from the car accident can't do this.
You're gonna ruin your computer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm still in recovery.
Back up.
My turning, the hand that would hold the cork is not quite up to grip snuff
Yeah.
at this moment, because so yeah, I might have to ease this out and let it pop
There you
ever
go.
so. But poof,
There you are. Good
There it
man.
is.
Good man. Ooh,
There it
good
is.
bubbles on that.
All right,
Solid bubbles on that.
or good smoke. Good.
Ooh. Apple. That's curious. Ooh, strong apple nose. Ooh.
Apple is curious.
Yeah.
Apple's normal.
Strong, but strong for me.
Yeah. Not too bad. So yeah, this is very Prosecco-like. It's got that, just fresh and fruity. So you've got like yellow apple versus green apple more. You've just got that, yellow apple, a little bit of citrus, but nothing too sharp. No, not really bready or yeasty. So this is definitely a youthful, not traditional champagne method where they soak it on the lees.
Man,
This is just a bright, fun one.
that's something.
Oh yeah, my guess is this was Asti method that they used on this.
Yeah.
This has some sugar left in it.
It's a good time.
Yeah. I can.
Yep. Yeah.
I can even feel the stickiness on my fingers. Yeah, there is some sugar. There is some sugar left in this bad boy. Yeah. So this is Moscato d'Asti style.
This is a good time wine. This is a good time sweet wine. Yeah.
Yep. And the Asti method, which all Moscato d'Asti goes through, and honestly, there are some delicious Moscato d'Astis out there as well. This is actually quite nice. It will be a little sweet, so you want to make sure that's what you want. But this is the Asti method is where you literally just freeze the grape juice, and or you chill it to almost freezing to store it. Right, you chill it, and when you're ready, you just bring it out and use basically the tank method, and then you halt fermentation while the alcohol is still fairly low to keep the sugar in it. This has 11%. Let me go back and find out. 11% alcohol. Yeah, 11% alcohol.
Okay, wow.
So that's not terrible. Again, not as much. Asti would probably be closer to like 8%, and they would have left a lot more sugar in there. Whereas this one probably just left a teeny bit of sugar in there.
Yeah. All right. As we continue to taste, I'm going to pick up here with some of the featured collaborators on this album. The Dog Pound is a hip-hop duo consisting of Daz Dillinger and Corrupt. They are known for their contributions to West Coast hip-hop and their collaborations with Snoop. They performed This Christmas on the album, continuing their long-standing collaborations with Snoop. Since the album's release, the Dog Pound has remained active in the music scene, releasing several projects, including Dog Chit 2013 and Dillinger with Young Gotti the second in 2021. Jay Black is an artist featured on Xmas Soul. He is known for his work with West Coast hip-hop scene, of course, and for his very smooth vocal style. Since the album, we can't necessarily find a whole lot of information on Jay Black, but he is very, very active in the underground music scene. Damani is featured on A Gift That Keeps On Giving and Every Day Is Like Christmas to Me, further solidifying his connection with Snoop's musical endeavors. Since the album's release, Damani has released several solo projects and collaborated with many other artists. Bad Luck, that's Lucc, is a rapper from LA who gained recognition for his work in the West Coast hip-hop scene, of course. He appears on My Little Mama, Trippin' on Xmas, The Grinch, and Landy in My Eggnog, which is reference a callback to what Dave was mentioning earlier, showcasing his style alongside Snoop's festive vision. I love that. It's I like that phrase when I came up with it, Snoop's festive vision. Bad Luck has continued to produce music and collaborated with so many different artists. Chris Starr is known for his R&B and hip-hop orchestrations. His smooth vocals have made him a sought-after collaborator. He features on 5 tracks of this album, including This Christmas. Chris has pursued very many various musical projects since 2018. And of course, let's not forget Nate Dogg's memorable chorus on Lookout, which adds a wonderful hip hop flair to a festive mix. And on that note, Dave, let's talk about this album real quick. Let me know what your
Yeah.
initial response and thoughts were, what you thought going into it when I mentioned it like 3 months ago, and
Yep.
how it stands up to you as a Christmas album.
So my thoughts when you mentioned it to me originally was essentially just, yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
that's true. That's very true.
I was like, why not? Why not? I've never listened to the Snoop Dogg Christmas album, but I was all for it. I was like, yeah, let's see what was going on. I didn't know what era it was from, so when it was all the way back in 2008, I
Yeah.
was mildly surprised by that. I didn't think it would go quite. I thought it would be in the 2010s,
And it was digital
but
only in
the fact that he was already,
2008.
oh my god,
Yeah,
wow,
that's why it was amazing to
that
me.
and the first iPhone is 2007, 2000. The
That's
first
right.
smartphone ever was right at that time.
Yeah.
So we did not have streaming on our phones
That's
yet,
right.
really. But you had iPods,
Yeah,
right? You had
they've
iPods.
been around for a little while.
You
Yeah,
had
Mhm.
Napster, and that whole legal drama was
That's right.
going on already. So like, yeah, digital music was a
was
big
around,
thing, and people
yeah.
were trying to see what they could do. And Snoop is an entrepreneur at heart. Like that's something we're going
That's
to
right.
harp on a lot here. And I do think this Christmas album, the first thing I noticed when I started listening to it is I started looking at all the people that were on it, because at first I was surprised how little of actual Snoop is on this album. So I was like, oh, it's a Snoop. And I believe the technical full title of this album is Snoop Dogg Presents.
Snoop Dogg presents
Christmas in the Dogghouse.
Christmas in the Dog Pound. Exactly. He's the grand curator. And as a matter of fact, he does the intro. This is a very common thing in the 90s and early 2000s with the intros and interludes and outros. As a matter of fact, those were taken to a new level, a new height, artistic heights in the 90s. And Snoop does a lot of that on his early work. But with this compilation, he does the intro, sort of a master of ceremonies, and the outro, where he essentially onboards you, on-ramps you into this idea of this sort of alternative hip-hop Christmas, and then leaves you with the parting sort of word and thanks. So yeah, this is him being the central curator for this hip-hop Christmas experience.
Yeah. And I think my next thought when I started listening and I realized how many other artists were on this album, and it wasn't really a Snoop Dogg album directly, right? Is I started looking up all the artists, and on Spotify, on streaming, like almost most of them don't have a lot on there. They would always, but the interesting thing is they would almost all, to a T, have an album or two that dropped right around this time.
Exactly.
The Christmas album dropped.
Exactly.
Right? So they were all giving it their go. And I believe a lot of these guys are like music producers, predominantly, more than like their own, or seemingly more music producers. They were working with Snoop, they were producing other rappers. And then this was like okay, we're going to try our hand at our own album. And we're going to get on the Snoop Dogg album as like the big promotion, part of the big promotional push to like, can this launch me into where I want to go? And I did notice, I looked at a lot, because like my favorite songs on this album were from Bad Luck. And I looked him up online, and he's made lots of indie albums. Like if you go to Bandcamp or things like that, you can find it. Like he made one album in 2023, 2022. I'm like, he's still going strong, but he only has his like one album from like 2000, right around the time this Christmas album dropped.
So
and that's a big one that was like probably on a bigger label.
A note about that is when because these compilations, what's amazing is you can find so many of these label compilations, and what happens is they would take a lot of the artists who are on the label who were finding difficulty finding that sort of fire, and this is a great way to get them out there, to get them some bandwidth by associating the name with Snoop Dogg, of course, because in 2008, Snoop Dogg was, he'd been out for 12 years, I guess, or something, 15 years or something like that. He was still sort of a big guy on the street, so his name carried weight. And unfortunately, with a lot of these compilations, they are filled with acts and artists who you don't necessarily hear from again, or who ended up going back behind the scenes as writers and producers. And the same thing that happened with this compilation, for sure.
Yep. And I will say, the first listen of this album, I kind of liked the whole thing. I was like, this is fun.
It is fun.
I liked it quite a bit. It's very different. You mentioned when we got together earlier this week that you were like, it's not very Christmassy. And I didn't really know what you meant by that because I was like,
traditional Christmas.
100%.
Yeah, no, it's definitely its own brand.
And then
of
I
Christmas.
realized there are no carols,
Exactly.
right? There are no traditional. There's no covers of traditional Christmas.
There's
songs.
some interpolations of Christmas traditional Christmas carols for sure. That they're mixed in and blended in, which are fun but
no straight up covers.
Yeah,
right?
No straight up covers.
Yeah. And so don't come to this album expecting any quote unquote Christmas songs as you know them. Like these are all original songs, original compositions from each of these artists. But the first listen, I was like, this is just a good time.
It's fun.
Kind of like the Wines, right? I was like, this is great. I will say, I listened to this about 4 times all the way through. And even starting from the second time, a number of these songs are a bit, and this is a little hypocritical of me because I like traditional Christmas songs, which suffer the same thing, but repetitive.
Oh, 100%.
They're a little too, like once you've heard it once, you start listening to it a second time and you're like, oh God, do I have to listen to 4.5 minutes of this?
Right. The rhythmic signatures are similar. The sort of the structure, the ABA, the structure is very similar. I'm not going to say it was a lazy sort of production because it wasn't. There's a lot of work and artistic sort of endeavor that went into it.
It probably was fast though.
But it was definitely
probably a little
fast.
slapdash.
Yeah. But there are some gems on this album, and let's point out
there are 2 or 3.
What are some of your faves?
So my all-time favorite is going to be Little Mama Trippin' on Christmas.
Okay.
That one does it for me through the roof.
The title alone, I was like, okay, fine. This needs to be added to the canon, the Christmas canon.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is
it's got okay. I was just going to say it's got a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
It's the first song to really have a sense of humor, whereas all the other songs are like a little more straightforward, and then this one comes out of nowhere, and the rhythm and the way he's playing with the rhythm and the lyrics, and I'm just like, this is so well put together. And then it's got that lyric, "My Little Mama Trippin' on Christmas," and I'm just like, this fits on this album. It's an untraditional Christmas song in that regard, right? A little unconventional. And then it's got that great sense of humor, and like that one, that's going on my own custom Christmas list.
100%.
Like that's one of the songs from this album that I'm like, I could listen to this forever.
100%.
One of my chickens call me tripping in the hallway. Told her it was nothing. She like, man, fuck what y'all say. Little mama tripping on Christmas. Scratch me off her gift list. Trying to be cool, but this shit hurt like a motherfucker dying, and I'm crying in my room. I was trying to be a player. She played me for the fool, and I'm calling, but I can't use the phone after 8. And her mama like she gone, I'm like the street lights is on, man, it's cool. I ain't tripping, tell her call when she get this. Little mama tripping on Christmas. I say my little mama tripping on Christmas. Call me with a girl that she scratched me off her gift list. I get a letter from my girl like, what is this? It say it's quits and you get nothing but Christmas. I say my little mama tripping on Christmas. Call me with a girl that she scratched me off her gift list. I get a letter from my girl like, what is this? It say it's quits and you get nothing but Christmas. Hey. Christmas Eve and she still ain't talking to me. I'm like, baby, I'm sorry, here's a cookie. She said she bought me shirts. She said she bought me clothes. She said she bought me toys. I'm like, yeah. She's like, no, you idiot. Damn, I messed up. Time for me to fess up. Swallow my pride, put the chest.
Yeah, I will say, I do think, we discussed this because of the way my brain works. I do consider things in terms of like their future sort of canonical potential, just the way my brain works. And I really think that there are a number of albums on this, number of songs on this album, which in about 10 years, people are going to look back and go, oh, no, we got to add that to the proper Christmas canon. We got to add that to the proper, it's going right behind White Christmas, Bing Crosby. Yeah, that's great. But we need a Snoop Dogg number in there because it is so fun. It's just so much just fun. It's just fun.
Yes. And as crassly commercial as it is, Landy and My Eggnog, I
100%.
can listen to that one forever.
Here's the thing, though. Most of the Christmas songs, here's the thing. Most of the traditional Christmas songs we got were commercial, right? Most of them were written and sort of, just furthered because of their rooting, their basis.
And Christmas songs are all about like, sugar plums and crisp figgy pudding and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, Landy and My Eggnog. Let's do this.
Exactly.
And I ain't lying if I tell y'all, but look, I need some Landy in my eggnog.
I done lost a couple homies, shook a couple phonies, so man, I need some Landy in my eggnog. We gon' do it real big, tonight I'm going in, so man, I need some Landy in my eggnog. I thank God that I made it, I know you suckers hate it, so yeah, pour me some Landy in my eggnog. I'm up early in the morning, spending Christmas with my fam bam. The homies whipping like a Trans Am, but I'm cool, it's a holiday, laughing at my nephew, cause he love his time is train, and I gotta form me up, and I'm stunning in my smoke jacket, I don't even smoke, gotta get it full of low, hard times a nigga broke, and I'm loving this season, cause everybody cool, when the music come on, everybody do the fool, we laughing and we lollygagging, jiving like the old heads used to say when I was hanging, slanging with my old bread. Sit him down, unk on his tip again, talking out loud, yeah, he shouldn't have had a sip of gin, I done learned my lesson, so I'm easy in the morning, night a little different, sharing stories with the old man, think about my life, and I tell y'all, man, I be stressed, I need some Landy in my eggnog, yeah, and I ain't lying if I tell y'all, but look, I need some Landy in my eggnog.
So that was perfect, and I do think I will also say my least favorite. This one stood out for me, and I'm so the only one there is the guy, the Damani rapper, and he did 2 songs. He did A Gift That Keeps On Giving,
right.
which is fine. I like that song. But Every Day Is Like Christmas to Me was the only song on the entire album that was actually kind of like dickish and mean spirited.
Well, here's the thing, though. That's the one. That's one of the ones I liked.
Oh, see, that's the only one that I outright hated.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Here, I guess it's just sort of my realist kind of in generally indifferent, agnostic to everything kind of expression of my personality in the world. But yeah, Christmas is there. Yeah, it's okay to be dickish during Christmas. It's okay to be annoyed. It's okay to
be dickish during Christmas, but it was still there's a certain kind of self-aggrandizement that I think can be very off-putting and very like it's just a turn off. And that one was like, yeah, I can't get into this. Like I hate listening to it. I don't like the lyrics. I don't like the style. I don't like nothing about that song did it for me. So that's the one song that I would like exercise from this entire album where I'm just like, I don't think it fits. Like it doesn't fit this because like literally just pops out. It stands out as being a tonally at odds with the rest of the album. And if the album had more tonal shifts, that'd be one thing, but it doesn't. It's just this one. Okay. And so I'm like, nah.
They said the fat white dude had gifts until I seen my dad with a bike, thinking he's slick. Older lies, my eyes is wide. Now I can see through the BS, but still they tried. Now every day of my life I get a gift. The gift of Gab, the gift of Gabrielle Union lookalikes. Yeah, the shit I write, keep my pockets tight. I ain't no peasant, my presence is a fucking present. Every day is like Christmas to me. Every day is like Christmas to me. Yeah. Every day is like Christmas to me. Every day is like Christmas to me. It's like that every day. Every day is like Christmas to me. Every day is like Christmas to me. I don't know about y'all.
Not a fan. That's the only one that I outright didn't like. Yeah. But at the same time, like I said, a lot of them are a little like even his first song. What was his first one? Not Every Day Is Like Christmas to Me. That's the one I don't like. Yeah. A Gift That Keeps On Giving. I kind of like the tune but then like again halfway through the song I'm like, oh god, we're only halfway through. Like it gets a little repetitive. Yeah. And without offering more. So I think that album does suffer from this. And I will say this. Or no. I'm going to talk about the wine in a minute. But for you, what are your highlights?
So standouts for me are going to be Lookout. It's the classic Christmas vibe. I think it's the most classic adjacent Christmas vibe on the entire album. With Nate Dogg, who is for those of you who don't know, Nate Dogg had a couple of really great sort of seminal hip hop and R&B hits in the 90s. And his voice is really accessible. So most of his music is very singable, which is why it holds up so well. And that's another thing about classic Christmas music is that it generally is written in keys that are very singable. That's how you have that sort of pop staying power. And so Lookout was, again, a classic vibe featuring the Dog Pound and Nate Dogg. It will definitely be the album, the song you put on when you're wrapping gifts late at night.
Believing no Santa Claus. Mama was Santa Claus. My mama was Santa, dog. And I love her to death, despite I might not get what I've been needing, long as I'm breathing. See, cause she taught me about life, and that's a trip. If you're living on Christmas, then that's your gift. How about that? Nah, homie, how about this? See, cause I'ma put you on my Xmas list, cause I care about it, don't worry about it. It was rowdy and crowded, cause I invited everybody. That's how Christmas is, you supposed to spread love. So I'ma spread love and give it to those who ain't got none. Get up.
How about that? Gifts under the tree. Somebody care about me. It was just another Christmas till my daughter sent me kisses. Then my feelings got up in it. Now I'm down to spread the spirit. Look out.
As a matter of fact, a little sort of personal story here, which rarely happens. When I was a kid, my dad and his uncles and his brothers and his contemporaries, the night before Christmas, which is, I guess, called Christmas Eve. Sorry. Oh, put that back up, Dave. Sorry, guys. If you're watching the subs to the Patreon, you'll see him putting up these the image that's emblazoned on the bottom of the cork, which doesn't look like Snoop, but it's supposed to be Snoop.
Nope, not really. Not really. It's not a very good representation.
Anyway. What the hell was I saying? All right. So when I was a kid, my dad and his uncles and his contemporaries on Christmas Eve would get together at someone's house, an appointed house in the neighborhood, to put together all the gifts, or the bike or the drum set or whatever it is. And it was a yearly tradition. But I was the only child who would ever come along, because I would usually sit quietly in the corner and read an encyclopedia. And so I would just have this view of their world as adults. They would usually put on some classic Christmas music, which was, you got the Temptations Christmas songs, you've got Donny Hathaway, you've got, some Bing Crosby, the classic middle American good stuff, and I imagine that this song, had they still been around and getting together every Christmas to put together the Christmas gifts, this song, Lookout, would actually be in that mix. So that was a nice, warm, fuzzy sort of connection for me. And again, I'm not a very warm and fuzzy guy, so eat it up. It doesn't happen often. Another favorite is This Christmas, performed by the Dog Pound with Chris Starr. It is another sort of R&B twist on the holiday cheer. 'Twas the Night Before Christmas was great. That was a fun take. Xmas Trees was a playful nod to the tree. So yeah, there's some, like Dave said earlier, I've got a number of these that are going to go on my Christmas sort of playlist, because I don't want to forget them. I think they do add something to the Christmas canon. Like, that Christmas canon is just so stale, and it really is. I hate to say it, but in general, the Christmas canon, the most recent addition to that Christmas canon is Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas, which now is 2 decades old. So reaching back even further, because of this hip hop kind of orchestration of production, it does seem a little more current than it actually is. But this album is, again, almost 30 years old. And I guess, the 20 years old. Yeah.
I will also say the Superfly. I miss them days.
Yeah,
that's going. I like the ones that have a little bit of humor to them.
Absolutely.
I think the best, especially because Christmas is one of those things where it's like, oh God, please don't take it too seriously.
Yeah.
Like, you can't.
Exactly.
It's
at this point, you can't take it seriously.
It's been you can't, which is why, and I'm not a religious person, so like the Jesus song, I was just like, God, stop!
The Jesus
like
song.
I know. Well, and it's funny because there's sort of like, it's like Santa Claus ain't real. Let's talk about Jesus. And I'm
I
like,
know.
do we have to? I know. I'm like, I'm all for crass capitalism if it's between that and Jesus, frankly, for me personally, just because I'm an atheist, guys. I'm sorry.
All right, we're gonna cut that out. Don't alienate half the damn
It is
population.
what it is. Oh, whatever. They're already leaving comments that we suck.
I know.
We're good.
Which I gotta see who that is. I want to
Um,
invite that person. Please tell me more.
Please tell me more.
I'm curious if you had to pick one of this curation. If you had to pick one of this curation,
Oh no.
To pair with the actual album, what are you doing? What's happening?
Okay, so first off, my ideal is going to be, and this is what I thought it would be going in, but I needed to taste the wines. I don't think it changes. I think this is still the ideal. The order we just opened them in is the order you would drink a glass while listening to the album. So I think you've got an hour and 8 minutes of music, and I think the first third of the album you do the red, the second third of the album you do the rosé, and you end on the sparkling. And the reason I think you do that, the first third of the album is a little more traditional and a little heavier and not as light on its feet as the next 2/3 of the album. It like kind of starts where you're just sort of like, you're kicking off and you're like, go with the red, go with the thing that's got like a little more weight to it. And by the middle of the album, you're getting into the first comical bits. You're getting more light about it. I think it's more of a party in a glass. And at that point, you get to the rosé. And by the end, it's a celebration. It's really, I think that's where your sparkling and effervescence comes in. And I would drink, pour a normal size glass, guys, no more than 4 to 5 ounces, like do a proper glass so you get through it in an hour and 8 minutes, 3 of those. And you progress. And if you want to pour a little less, so in an hour, 8 minutes, you're doing like 3 ounce pours or something like that. That'd be perfectly fine. But go in that order, red to rosé to white. Now, having tasted the red and not really enjoyed it, and I think the rosé was my favorite. So if I'm only picking one, I'm picking the rosé. It's a party in the glass still. It's got a little bit of weight to it. It's a perfect little halfway point between the other two. And I think it does fit this album and all its many facets the best as one single wine. So Cali Rosé is what I would go for if you're only picking one, or do what I like to call the escalation flight, where you're going, but sort of a reverse escalate, but an escalation of lightness, where you're going from the red to the rosé to the sparkling.
All right. I see that. I see that. I have no qualms with that whatsoever. I'm going to say, me personally, I'm going to challenge you guys, actually. If you were throwing a Christmas party this year or a holiday function, and you have the kind of crowd which would appreciate something a little quirky, a little off kilter, a little outside the norm, put this album on. From start to finish, put this album on. And I'm of two minds. Either you do the curation, but with the red, you make a mulled wine with it. Make a mulled wine with this red. I think it would stand up fairly well to a solid little mulled wine. You can find mulled wine spice packs at any of your traditional markets. World Market has a great mulled wine packet sachet. On its own, I'm not a huge fan of the red, but I think it would make a very solid base for a mulled wine. And you can find a recipe. I have my own recipe, which we used last year on our Legacy show. And maybe we'll repost that in the notes as well. So I would say put this album on. Make a mulled wine.
I gotta go drag that.
Oh no, I've got it. Don't worry. Make a mulled wine.
Okay.
Or just serve the sparkling, because sparkling is one of those things, particularly on festive evenings. People are okay just sipping the sparkling all evening. So yeah,
I think for the holidays too, like wintertime holidays, the sparkling is going to get you the farthest. So I agree. Even though I picked the rosé for myself personally
same.
the one to pair with this album, if it's the holidays and you're playing an album, you're having a party, and it's the fucking holidays,
Absolutely.
sparkling, guys.
Absolutely.
Always a
Go with the
sparkling.
sparkling as a standalone. I would say in other circumstances, make a little mulled wine with the red. Personally, I'm probably going to drink the rosé and finish that. I probably won't finish the others, but don't tell anyone. We can cut that out. Hey
I'll
Snoop.
finish this.
Hey 19
Honestly, I'm not a
Crowns.
Bubbles fan. I'll probably finish the sparkling, even not being a Bubbles
Yeah,
fan.
it's
Like that
again,
and the
it's
rosé.
solid. It's
The
a fun
red,
time.
I think the red is going to be my sacrificial goat, where I'm like, well, I had to try it.
Yeah, yeah.
And we'll see.
Agreed.
I wonder if the smooth version might add so much more with that extra oak aging in terms of like the flavors I was missing.
I
That'll be
agree.
interesting.
I may have
find
to
out
try.
one day.
I may have to try and track
Yeah.
down a bottle of that just to sort of compare. Because,
Yeah.
like I said, there are some definitely redeeming qualities about the red, but
I know. Compared to the others, I was like,
Yeah.
good Lord.
yeah. And
This one, and I expected the red with that Petite Syrah. I
Same.
was like, okay, it's just going to be jammy. It's
Same.
just going to be fruit forward, and it kind of wasn't any of those things, which is shocking.
Yeah.
Just shocking.
Agreed.
And again, I'm extra befuddled and disappointed because of that Petite Syrah element,
Agreed.
which should have been totally different.
Agreed.
Should
That's
have been
probably
totally
the point. Maybe we shouldn't have looked at the actual ingredient, the wine.
Nah, fuck that.
contents,
Fuck that. No, if it's made with Petite Syrah, it's like, what are you doing with that Petite Syrah to
Yeah.
make this wine? Come on, guys.
I know.
Like, give it some legs, give it some substance, like a little bit more than, and possibly I'm timing, like, you know, how quickly
Yeah.
they pump it out. It's just like, you're not going to get that extended skin contact,
Sure.
but skin contact isn't, it's usually and then if you give it more
Yeah.
tannin and extraction, you have
That's
to give
right.
it more oak aging to calm it
To
down,
calm it down.
to make it pleasant. So it extends that timeline all the more. So if you're pumping this stuff out fast, like year in and year out, I kind of get it. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
So you make it very light in extraction, but it's missing too much for me on that one. Whereas the rosé and the sparkling, perfect,
Agreed.
spot on.
So there you have it, guys.
Yep.
This is Snoop Dogg presents Christmas in the Dogghouse. I highly what?
Oh, I was just gonna say, by the way, Christmas outro is my second favorite track on the whole thing.
Again, the
I love a
outros-
couple others, but
Go ahead. Go.
I love the little string vamp that's
Yeah.
going on through the whole thing,
Yeah.
and then everything Snoop Dogg says, I'm like, I'm ending every Christmas playlist with this fucking thing. This is amazing.
So a little note about the outros and intros. For those of you who are very familiar with R&B of the late 80s and up until the late 90s and hip hop, the outros, it's such an interesting evolution in music. They became an art form. And I will tell you, the greatest sort of artisans in that realm are Janet Jackson and
Mhm.
probably Snoop Dogg. Their intros and outros and interludes, and Mary J. Blige is another one, they're phenomenal on their own, because what they end up doing is they weave connective tissue between the songs. They really, really do. And
Well,
they
and
lead
in
you
this-
out or
in this
into
subgenre,
the mood. And
there-
it's fantastic. It's such a great space. And Snoop Dogg does it very well in this album.
Yes, and in this genre, there's a lot of self-referentialness going
Absolutely.
on. That's not a word, but however you say that,
Yeah.
there's a lot of self-referencing going on.
Yeah.
You know, you say this is all. You know, it's the Dogghouse. It's like
Right.
you know, it's your man Snoop Doggy Dogg. It's always about you know, Superfly kept
Yeah.
dropping like super
Yeah.
in the way like
Yeah.
you keep like kind of mentioning like this is about you, this is about your world,
Right.
this is about your life. And so the intro outro makes sense, and even the interlude tracks, because each album is like, this is where I am when I made this album.
It's a
This is
body
what
of
I'm
work.
talking about.
It's
And it is
an
about
artistic
me.
expression. It is like I'm taking you on this journey from note one till the last note, and I'm weaving these textures and creating these sort of roads. And occasionally, I need to pop in and remind you of what the mood is, or as the kids like to say, the vibe. So it's kind of a fantastic
Vibes.
little space. And for you musicologists out there, people who are just generally interested in music, I highly recommend you do a Google search for some of the best interludes and outros and intros in music. And to be fair, that's probably the top that list is going to be populated by hip hop and R&B. So yeah, there you have it. Snoop Dogg's
There you have it.
Snoop Dogg Presents Christmas in the Dogghouse
Presents.
is not just an album, it's an experience that blends hip-hop culture and the holiday spirit in a way that only Snoop could pull off. And I honestly do believe that. Whether you're decking the halls or just chilling at home, these tracks will bring a unique flavor to your festive celebrations. And the wines, while interesting, they are festive wines. They are celebratory wines, as Dave said. You know, if you're going to do a little,
and don't
curious,
forget,
yeah,
there's 6 of them.
There
So
are
throw
6
a
of them.
party, 1 bottle of each, all 6. See what people think of all 6 while playing the Snoop Dogg Presents Christmas album, Christmas in the Dogghouse, in the background.
Right.
Do 2 or 3 rotations. See who is still standing after 6 bottles of Snoop Dogg 19 Crimes wines. And I guarantee you, probably everyone's going to find one that is their jam.
Absolutely.
Because we found 2 out of 3 that were our jam. That were like, I'd stay at a party
That's
that
right.
was serving this. This is great.
Have a little Christmas listening
again,
party.
not blowing your mind, but
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. This has been the finale of season 1 of Wine and. We will be back next year with more wine and entertainment pairings for your entertainment. But until then, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that fun stuff. Happy New Year's, happy end of 2024. Jesus fucking Christ.
That's right.
Happy beginning of 2025. Jesus fucking Christ.
Indeed.
We're going to see how that goes. And we will be there to continue to suggest wines, suggest entertainment, talk about them at length and in depth with special guests from both the wine industry and the entertainment industries next year. We have some big plans and some big ambitions for doing things outside of that as well. So we will see how that goes and how those shape up in the next couple of months. But we will see you then, folks. Catch us on Substack, wineand.substack.com. We will still be posting a few things here and there while we're on break with this podcast. And if we don't see you until the next podcast drop, we will see you then. Don't forget to subscribe so you know when that drops, because it won't just be every week. You'll have to actually, get an alert for when this happens and when the next podcast drops. But we will see you then. Take care. Once again, happy holidays. Drink some Snoop Dogg 19 Crimes wines. Listen to the Snoop Dogg Christmas album and some other Christmas albums. But get off the beaten path. Don't just listen to the traditional Christmas carols. All right, guys.
Later,
ciao,
guys.
ciao. We will catch you next time. We love that you listen to us. Thank you so much for being here. This has been an amazing first year.
Tell a friend.
Amazing first partial year. It's been quite a ride, and we can't wait for part 2. Check you then.
Later,
Ciao
guys.
for now.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, to the producers on the side, you dig? I couldn't have did it without none of y'all, man. It's cracker like it, y'all. Dogghouse. And in case you don't know, you won't know. We going online with this right here, man. Digital. So get it while it's good. Merry Christmas, y'all. Get it while it's good. I guess I'm the Black Santa Claus. Yeah, it is, y'all. So we gonna just sip on some of this Landy. Roll up some of this Christmas tree. Tear open some of these gifts. Enjoy some of this food and these festivities. Yeah, and just keep it cracking, y'all. God bless you. May He keep you. That's real talk. We made it. It's another year, y'all. Go hard or go home. Be on the lookout for the war zone. Hustle boys. Yeah. It's Snoop Dogg. You know how I do it. TV show crack-a-lackin'. Fatherhood. Yeah. My team won the Super Bowl. Yeah. Pomona Steelers, y'all. That was my gift. Ho, ho, ho. I'm about to get on up out of here. I'm finna jump on my sleigh and slide away until we meet again. Peace, 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 peace. Yeah. Let the music bang. Yeah, just let the music bang right there. Yeah.